So today what I would like to discuss is a trick, or maybe we can call it a reality check that really helped me speed up my results. So it made the scale go down faster. It helped me stay on track or get back on track faster. And it was just a really great tool to help me ground myself and really understand this journey better. Like, what actually is this journey all about? So I want to start by expressing this character trait that helped me with this kind of realization. And this character trait is a trait that I think I developed it as a young child as a coping mechanism. I think it was something that really helped me make sense of the world and keep me grounded and calm and be able to continue despite being anxious or nervous or scared and all those negative emotions. So this character trait for me was, let's call it compartmentalizing or avoidance. And I mean, you know, we can all relate to some degree that I'm sure we all compartmentalize things or avoid things, right? We put things, for me, what I'm talking about is I put things in boxes in my mind, like these imaginary boxes. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to throw it away, or I'm going to put it in a box and deal with it later when it matters or when it's important. And that has really served me in my life. Okay. For a very long time, it did serve me. If I ever got into a fight with somebody and I was really emotional, it helped me put my emotions in a box, shelve it, breathe, think, and then reopen that box. So it helped me through fights. If I ever failed a test and was really upset about it, I could just go back to it later. I didn't, break out into tears in the moment in front of the class when I saw my test. If I was heartbroken, I didn't make any irrational decisions while I was heartbroken in the past. I was able to put it in a box, deal with it later. If I'm ever embarrassed, or anybody ever been in a situation where you said something silly or stupid that you regret, and then you go home and you beat yourself up about it, and you're like, damn it, why did I say that? Oh my goodness, it's so embarrassing. They're going to think about me like this forever. And these situations where maybe not the best things had happened to me, but I was able to take them and process them later. So I never reacted in the moment. I never had any outbursts. I was always able to remain kind of cool and calm. So this really helped me from overreacting to a lot of things, saying things that I couldn't take back, doing things that maybe would put me in danger and stuff like that. So this character trait was really helpful. And it wasn't until I really took my weight loss journey serious that this character trait helped me in areas, but I also realized how it was holding me back in other areas. So I've lost over 80 pounds. I tried, many, many different times. I've read all the magazines, watched all the TV shows, watched all the YouTube videos, tried all the fad diets. And it wasn't until I finally started to lose those 80 pounds for good that I recognized what was happening. So this character trait that had kind of been my safety net of coping and not, for lack of better term, losing my shit over the years, this avoidance and this compartmentalizing, it was starting to hurt and slow down my weight loss journey. Because I would then take the same principles I would take in an emotional reaction, right, in the external world, and then I would take the same tools and internalize it with my own emotions, right? And that is just not helpful. I have to understand my emotions inside myself. And I have to understand what they mean, why they're there, and acknowledge that they are even there, right? The ones that are created by what I do, the ones that are created by what I don't do. Whereas in the past, people triggering me externally, I could compartmentalize, but now it was kind of spilling over, and I was compartmentalizing me and my emotions and what I do and all of that stuff. So how does this practically roll over? Well, it would show up when I would overeat. When I would overeat and I wouldn't be proud, and I would give into a craving or do one of my binges, and I would feel really guilty about it. Like, that instant feel of guilt, like, why did I do that? I would feel that, and then I would instantly stop myself from feeling it, and I would put it in a box, and I said, okay, you know what? Tomorrow's a fresh day. I'll deal with it later. Whatever. I'm going to get healthy eventually. I'll deal with it later, right? That's kind of how my mind would process something like that. If I would look in the mirror and I didn't like what I'd see, I'd quickly look away. I'd kind of avoid it, right? And I would say, oh, if I don't like what I see, I'll just change it. Not a big deal. It'll change eventually, right? So I was like putting my thoughts into those boxes and shelving them for later, which for a long time did help me not break down about how unhappy I was, about how I looked and how I felt. But at this point, I was taking my weight loss serious. I was really ready. I was really fed up. And those behavior patterns were not helping me, because if I did overeat, I needed to sit in my pain. I needed to sit in how gross I felt, and how bloated I felt, and how disappointed I was, because I know I'm capable of so much better. And if I looked in the mirror, I needed to sit there and look and see what I didn't like, and see what I was doing to my body, and see how it was unhealthy, and see how it would affect my future. If I did mess up, or I skipped a workout, or I did overeat, right? And my husband asked, what did you eat? I would lie, right? I wouldn't give the whole truth, right? Because I was avoiding the whole truth, because in my mind, I was already justifying it and finding a solution, when really I was just shelving it and not dealing with it. I didn't want to deal with those negative emotions, right? And another example would be, how this character trait was now hurting me. I was avoiding wearing tighter clothes, right? So I would wear stretchy pants, flowy tops, so I wouldn't be able to notice my weight gain as much, because my clothes weren't getting super tight. You couldn't see them when you looked in the mirror. I assumed other people couldn't really tell either, because I was kind of hiding my body. So now I was taking this character trait that really helped me over the years stay stable, and now it was actually keeping me stuck. It was actually hiding me and slowing me down, because I was avoiding the emotions that I created myself, right? I was the one that was overeating. I was the one that wasn't exercising or moving. I was the one that was putting me and my needs last. I was the one that was, working 12-hour days and not prioritizing my sleep. I was the one staying up late watching the TV shows and not going to bed early so I can get up early and go for a workout, X, Y, and Z, you name it. So I was doing these things to myself. And I wasn't letting myself feel the repercussions of them. I wasn't letting myself really understand what I was doing to myself. Because in the back of my mind, I was always like, it's okay, I'll do better again. It's okay, I'll do better later. I'll do better later. I'll figure this out eventually. But the only way you figure it out eventually is if you realize where you're currently at, and how detrimental what you've been doing is to your body, your life, your health, your relationship, your career, everything. And so this trait that I kind of prided myself on having, prided, is that a word? I think that's a word. Pride myself on having this trait that I tied with my identity of being somebody who was level-headed and rational and good in a crisis and good in intensive, stressful situations. Now, when I was the one creating those intensive, stressful situations, internally, I was putting out fires without realizing the source of the fire. Because the fire was still burning, I kind of turned away and stopped paying attention to the fire. So it was still burning, and I was still doing these self-sabotaging habits that I wasn't acknowledging. So there's something going on in your life in the area of health that if you are not where you want to be, it means you are not acknowledging something. And this is a habit that I practiced for a very long time, and I was really, really stuck in it. Right? Because, think about the last time you overate. You're like, this is too much. I'm really full. I'm really uncomfortable. I didn't need that much food. I shouldn't have done that. Think of the last time you overate, whether it was a lot or a little. And then think about if I were there with you and I said, I want you to go get naked. I want you to stare in the mirror right now. How terrifying is that thought? Because for most women, we don't even like staring in the mirror to begin with. Now I'm saying do it after you've done something you're not proud of, while you're bloated and full. That's terrifying. But that is you not avoiding your actions, not avoiding your emotions, not avoiding your current situation. You are acknowledging what you have done, and you are facing it head on. We are not waiting overnight to check the next morning when the bloating's gone down. Maybe you've pooped. Maybe you're less inflamed. We're doing it in the moment. That's terrifying. That is terrifying. Isn't that terrifying? Because what are we hiding from? What are we hiding from? The truth, reality. What are you avoiding? Do you have a bad day eating and then you don't check your weight the next day? You wait for the very next day to check it. And you say, oh no, I don't want to check it because it's going to it's going to upset my mood. Well, that's exactly why we should be checking it. It is a piece of data, it is a piece of machinery. Why is it controlling your mood? Why? because you know that that number is not good enough. You know that you are not good enough right now. You know that you have so much more potential. And that number reminds you of that every day. And if we avoid those acknowledgments, if we avoid those clues, those hints, those signs from the universe, if we avoid them, we stay in this neutral zone, right? And in my experience with the women I've coached in my own personal weight loss experience, I was never really ecstatic and super happy and confident very often. It would come in maybe like infrequent spurts. So I was kind of in this neutral zone where I wasn't very happy with myself, but I didn't necessarily hate myself. But the problem was, we usually only make decisions and massive aggressive action when we are having those intense emotions about our situation. And if you are not super confident, which is very hard to do when you are overweight or unhealthy, because we're just not, we're hiding our body, we're not proud, we don't feel good. So it's very hard to push yourself into that very confident realm to make a decision. So then use that to our advantage and go the opposite route. Push yourself into that negative zone. Remind yourself of how happy you are. Face it more often so you are more uncomfortable. And when we are uncomfortable, we move. Right? If you put your hand on a hot stove, it doesn't stay there. Our body literally runs away from that hot stove. Before we even make the decision to pull off, our hands pull off. It is because our body is running away from discomfort and pain. That's what our body is good at. Our body is good at protecting us. We haven't shown it this true danger. We haven't shown our body and our mind the true danger we're in because we've been avoiding it. And therefore, our biology is not helping us make this decision. Our biology actually wants to keep us lazy and comfortable, because for the biology, that's you being safe. Lazy and comfortable on a couch is you being alive and safe to your brain, right? So our brain is not going to help us make a better decision. It's going to do the things that keep us safe and healthy on the couch, like increasing cravings, like keeping you tired and lethargic, so you keep sitting down kind of thing. So if we want to actually get our biology to help us, actually get our cells to help us and kick us in the butt to get up and go, then you need to really look at putting yourself in that pain, reminding yourself of that pain more often, acknowledging the pain, the danger that you are in by staying who you are right now. If you are not growing, you are dying. If you are not growing, you are dying. If you are not growing, you are dying. Is that clear? If you have not progressed, if you do not know how to measure your progression, if you have no tangible, quantifiable measurements to show to yourself that, yes, I am improving in this area, in this area, in this area, in health, wealth, and relationships. Those are the three most important areas of your life: health, wealth, and relationships. If you don't have tangible data showing you are improving and going in the right direction, your body will not respond. Your mind will work against you. And that is why it feels like an uphill battle. Use your emotions. Do not shy away from them. Compartmentalizing is good to deal with reactions from the external world. But what about the internal world? What about what you're doing to yourself, what you've caused to yourself, the life you've created? Because you're probably a selfless woman who really loves taking care of people. And we forget to take care of ourselves. And so this life you've created doesn't make it very easy for you to be healthy. And because of that, it's now that you got the momentum going in the wrong direction. The momentum is going into that be lazy, be tired, be lethargic, sit down, skip a workout, have no willpower. That's the direction the momentum is in. You got a lot of momentum in that direction because of the years of practice and habit forming, right? It's this boulder going down a hill. And what you're going to have to do for a little while is push the boulder uphill. But there comes a point where there's a peak. And then the boulder can roll down the other end. And your momentum goes in the other way, of losing weight, of being healthy, of creating a new lifestyle that makes health easy, that makes health stick, that makes healthy decisions the ones you actually want to make. And that will not happen if we keep compartmentalizing our weight loss journey. You can do better. You should be doing better. And I know that is not nice to hear. And I know I don't know the details of your situation. And I don't know what you're going through. But I know that everybody is going through something. And that if somebody, there's definitely somebody who's gone through something similar to what you're going through and they've made it work. And that shouldn't make you mad or jealous or upset. It should inspire you, because that means there's hope for you. And to unlock that hope, don't hide from where you're at. Face it. Use the pain. Feel the pain. Don't avoid the pain and come back to it later, like I used to do all the time. And I still catch myself doing. When I fall off or I slip up and I avoid, I can tell you that it takes longer for me to get back on track. When I slip up and I don't avoid and I step on the scale immediately, or I look at my body and feel bloated, or I write out everything that I ate so I get to look at it in the face. When I don't avoid it, I get back on track way faster, because I'm bombarded with all these facts. And boy, is it not pretty. And boy, do I not want to be that person anymore. So I make a decision in the opposite direction. And that is so, so important. Because maybe no one's told you this before, but a weight loss journey is a lot of work. And I mean, your life is going to pass by anyway, right? The years are going to pass. The hours are going to pass. You're going to grow old anyway. So you might as well make that time count. You might as well do something worth doing. Make something that would make your time a better quality of time here on this earth. Time's going to pass, right? Whether you be healthy or are not healthy, time will pass. You get to choose what you do with that time. And you might as well choose something that's worth it, because your life will have hardships. Your life will have hard things in it. Period. Choose your hard. Choose your sacrifice. Choose your journey. Choose your story. Choose your adventure. Choose it. Choose it. No matter what you do, whether you actively choose something or life chooses it for you because you're indecisive, whatever happens, something is chosen, and the same time is going to pass regardless. Everything that you're going to go on, every journey is going to have its hardships. Now, it's not going to be torture 24/7, but it's going to be hard. And time is going to pass regardless. So why not pass the time of something that counts, of something that matters? So it's going to pass anyway. What do you want to do with it? Where do you want to be 1 year from now? You can be in the same spot. That's a lot. That's the most work. Can you imagine 1 year from now if you were in the exact same spot with everything? Nothing has progressed. That's terrifying. That's depressing. That's horrifying. That's probably up there as my worst nightmare. Being the same person I was yesterday, today. Terrifying. Because we're so better than that. We're so adaptive. Look at us. We're on the top of the food chain. We haven't even tapped into our true potential. You are worthy. You are worthy. Please stop avoiding or compartmentalizing your journey because you're trying to save your own feelings. It's okay. It's okay that you're uncomfortable in your own skin. It's okay that maybe you've come a long way, but you still got a long way to go. It's okay to acknowledge that. There's ebbs and flows and goods and bads and pros and cons and positive and negatives of any point in your journey. We can always make a list on either side. But when it counts, we are either not focusing on the negative or unproductively focusing on the negative. When you focus on the cons, when you focus on your shortcomings, focus on it from the lens of, this needs to be my fuel. I need to face my flaws and shortcomings in the face to understand exactly where I'm going wrong, and then to take that and cast a future that looks terrifying to me, so I run in the opposite direction. Not walk, not crawl, run. Have you elaborately created that scary future for yourself of what happens if you don't make a decision? What happens if you keep avoiding your feelings, keep denying how dangerous and unhealthy of a situation you're in? Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all those areas. And so when I did this, when I stopped compartmentalizing my health journey, I was able to be okay, a little bit more okay with my flaws. Because I tried for pretty much 2 decades to lose this weight. And for the bigger half of those 2 decades, I would beat myself up every time I failed. Every time something didn't work, every time I fell off again. I was a big disappointment to myself. It made me want to cry. But now when that happens, I do cry. I let it out. I sit with it, and then I productively say, okay, I don't want to feel this bad again. What do I need to do? And that is a power and a tool that a lot of women do not use. They don't utilize it. They don't understand the power of it. And oftentimes, they actually look down on it because most women don't go that far. They'll go so far as to analyze their flaws, and then they're just left feeling shitty about themselves afterwards. Like, oh crap, wow, I really suck. I got lots to fix. That seems overwhelming. I kind of don't want to do it now, right? But take it the step extra. Look at it all and visualize where all of that will take you if you don't make a decision, or if you don't wake up every morning just trying to be better, instead of saying, screw it, it's not worth it, this isn't going to work, or I'm okay, I'm not that unhappy, right? That neutral zone. We don't want to be there. We want to be in a hot zone, an emotionally fueled zone. Because once we harness that emotion, that motivation or that emotion is motivation. You wonder why you can't stay motivated? You're not emotional enough. You don't know what's on the line. You haven't analyzed what is on the line. So that is my task for you. Analyze what is on the line, create that future that seems unbearable, that you want to run in the opposite direction away from. And when you do analyze your flaws, because we're all good at that as women, we beat ourselves up, we tear ourselves apart. When you do that, just take a second and realize that these are dangerous traits, and that's okay. That can actually be the reason you're successful, because you have these things, because you don't want them so much, it pushes you in the other direction. That's okay. We don't want to stay in a state too long, right? But we also don't want to avoid being in those negative states altogether, because that's not helpful either. You don't know what it's like to truly feel good and happiness and joy unless we felt despair and sorrow and negativity. That's what's so beautiful about the world. Light and dark. You don't know it's bright outside if you don't know what it's like to be in darkness. You just don't know. And so this helps you get perspective. I think a lot of the time, if this weight loss game is in it for the long haul, right? It's a game you gotta buckle up for. Then you might as well enjoy it and appreciate each phase. Appreciate every emotion that comes into you. Just because you feel bad, that's not bad. Just because you feel disappointed, that's not bad. Just because you feel like you failed, that is not bad. You have put that description on yourself. Feeling what we call negative emotions is not a bad thing. It is essential. It is essential because it tells us where our shortcomings are, where we should focus our attention if we do want to get better. And then it allows us to appreciate the good even more. So if you're struggling to find good or appreciate the good, and you've been focusing on the bad too often, you haven't been realizing and understanding how to focus on the bad. All you're doing is listing off how much you suck, reminding yourself of how much you suck. Well, that's not productive, right? That's not productive. Go further with that. Let that be the thing that makes you actually successful. Maybe it's not being so excited to wear a bikini and fit into your jeans. Maybe the excitement of what you could do is not the thing that actually pushes you to get motivated off the couch or meal prep. Maybe it's not the positive that's going to motivate you. Maybe it's what we call negative. Maybe try it from that area instead of feeling sorry for ourselves. Because that's what I don't do anymore. I used to get in that woe is me, I'm never going to figure this out, I'm meant to be fat forever. That's not true. There is hope. Nothing is bad, nothing is good. It just is. So use it how you want.